Well, I guess it's time to say goodbye to the old girl. You know, it's been a good tractor, 22 years, and not an easy life. And it's still a very usable, very good tractor. Just ready to move on to something new, but I bet somebody will end up loving this old girl. You know, what I have discovered is that people are very loyal to their tractors and their favorite brands of tractor. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that can attest to the fact that these New Hollands are pretty good tractors. So here's hoping that the new one will be as good as this one was. Bad thing is now I got to pay for it. That's a heck of a birthday present, isn't it? Something you got to pay for. Well, we got the old tractor unloaded over there. See you later, old girl. And we got this new one loaded up, and I'm going to tell you what, this one is a lot heavier than the old one. Even though they look like they're physically about the same size, this is a heavy tractor right here, because when they started loading it up on my trailer, and that's 3/4 inch plywood with lots of steel bracing in it, and you could hear it splitting and cracking like it was tearing the floor up. And when he rolled it up on here, man, it started rocking this trailer. So this thing is really heavy. Goodness gracious. But we got it loaded up, and I'm guessing tractor, loader, bucket, fluid in the tires, probably looking at somewhere around 4,100 pounds here is my guess. 4,100, 4,200, something like that. And the trailer is about 3,650. So we got a pretty good load on this half-ton Ram. Let's see how she does getting us back home. So we're back on the road again. My voice is probably going to be quivering a little bit because the trailer is wobbling the truck on me. I've got a lot of weight back there. I figure we've got about 7,700 pounds back there. This tractor is definitely heavier than the one that we traded in. But anyway, we've loaded it better this time. We pulled it a little bit farther forward to give just a little bit more tongue weight, and I can tell it's already made a difference. I mean, we're at 58 miles an hour here, and other than the bouncing because of the road, this road is awful. Other than that, it's doing a great job, towing really well. Honestly, I'm surprised at how well it's doing, because when I bought this trailer, I made a 130-mile trip back home, and it was kind of all over the road, trying to wag the truck. Caught a lot of wind. I was getting like 8.5 or 9 miles per gallon. I mean, it was just really taxing this truck. And so I thought, well, if that's the case with an empty trailer, what's going to happen when I load it up, you know? But the flip side of that is when you load up an enclosed trailer like this and you put weight on it, it tends to be a little more planted to the road, and the wind doesn't have as much effect on it. So it actually, I think, tows a little bit better with a load on it. You know, obviously you're dealing with the weight, but the EcoDiesel's doing a good job dealing with the weight. I locked out 8th gear on the way down here because I found that if you lock out 8th gear and leave it running in 7th, then it'll hold momentum really well. And then it won't want to downshift when it starts going back up a hill. It'll kind of hold momentum. If you run it in 8th gear, you know, it tries to hold 8th as long as it can, and then when you start going back up a hill, it'll try to hold it and try to hold it, and it'll finally get to a point where it can't hold it anymore. But by then, it's lost so much momentum that it has to go all the way down to 5th gear. So, you know, I found that running in 7th is probably ideal. But we're getting ready to get back on the interstate here now, and we'll see what she does when we get up a little higher speed. We've been running between 55 and 60. So let's take it on up a little bit higher and just see how she does. Get on this on ramp here. I would say that this is probably about as much trailer as you want on a half-ton truck. It's an 8.5 by 24 foot enclosed with a V-nose, tandem axle obviously. And like I said, we've got a really heavy farm tractor in there right now for a half-ton truck. And it's handling it just fine. I mean, we just got up to speed there just fine. We're already at 65 miles an hour. So, you know, the brakes on these new 1500 series trucks are huge. You probably noticed that when I was doing the 18-inch wheel video. So the brakes are no problem. Massive brake package on these trucks. And the integrated trailer brake controller is nice. So stopping's not a problem. Going's not a problem because the EcoDiesel's got tons of torque. I mean, it'll run in overdrive with this kind of a load behind it out here, like it's doing right now. We're getting ready to go up to 7th gear. There it goes, in 7th gear now. So stopping is no problem, going's no problem. The only thing you usually run into with these half-ton trucks is the handling characteristics, because they've just got them so lightweight now. They're shedding as much weight as they can out of these things, trying to get fuel economy out of them, which is great when you're not towing. But then when you hook up a trailer, you know, you don't, I guess the laws of physics start to come into play, you know. But overall, it's doing a pretty good job. I mean, you can tell the weight is back there. I'm not gonna lie, you can definitely tell that you've got almost 4 tons back there. But it's not squirrely and it's not all over the road. It's not really disconcerting. Doesn't feel bad. You know, it gives you the sensation that you want to make sure you got 2 hands on the wheel, which you should do anyway, I guess. But it's not bad. We're up here going up a hill now. Let's see how long it'll hold 7th gear going up this hill. I'm at 65 miles an hour in 7th gear, which is the first overdrive gear on these transmissions. It's still hanging in there. It's not even going to downshift. Look at that. And that is the huge difference between the diesel and the gas engine. The gas engines will upshift, downshift, constantly shifting, tachometer needle swinging around like a yo-yo. The diesel, it finds a gear and just stays there. And that's the big advantage of it. It's less fatiguing. You use the same amount of fuel. It costs just as much money to tow with the diesel, but it's less fatiguing. You know, especially if you're going to haul, let's say you're going to get like a big camper and you're going to go on a long trip. You know, you don't want to listen to that V8 singing up and down the whole time, you know. The EcoDiesel finds, look, we're in 8th gear now, loafing along here at 1700 RPM with almost 4 tons behind us. That's really nice. And the 392 axle ratio has been really nice today too, because when you're taking off from a dead stop, it really gets up to speed a lot quicker. So anyway, I'm pretty impressed. It's doing a great job. Nice and composed. Everything doing well. Now, if I was going to tow this trailer like this all the time, if I was doing this for a business and I was going to tow this all the time, I would probably want to go on up to a 3500, which in the future I may do anyway, just because. But for occasional towing like this, the 1500 EcoDiesel is awesome. Really happy with it. So let's get this new tractor home, and if we have enough daylight, we'll get it out and check it out. So the very first thing we're doing is checking the air pressure in the tires, because they run them at max air pressure, and I don't like to do that. It just absolutely beats your kidneys up. So we're going to let a little bit of air out. But I did have them go ahead and put fluid in these tires, so I had to drive it up here a little bit and make sure my valve stem was up out of the fluid, and then we'll check it and see. Now these back tires, max air pressure on them is 20 psi. I'm going to run them like probably somewhere between 10 and 15. And the front tires, max psi is 50. So I'm going to leave those at about 35, because you got all the weight that's going to be on them from the loader and all that. So we'll leave 35 pounds in them, but we're going to let some of the pressure out of these, and hopefully it'll ride a little bit better out here on these gravel roads. So now, just to be sure everything is in good order, I'm going to go over it myself, check the oil and the fluid levels. It's not that I don't trust those guys, but everybody forgets things from time to time. But I'll tell you one thing I don't like about this tractor. I mean, it's all metal, but I would prefer the style where you can take the side panels off. Because as you can see, I mean, you got a long way to go back there. Can't really get to anything. So I feel like that if you really needed to get back here and work, probably the best thing to do would be to take the loader off, which thankfully is a quick detach loader at least. But you'd probably want to take this off and then get in there and disconnect that hood strut so you can fold this thing on back, kind of like a Jeep hood. Then maybe you'd have good access. So far, it's the only thing I don't really like about this tractor, but I don't know. We're just kind of going over it, checking it out, and later tonight I'll probably be reading through the owner's manual for fun.